Hey, ladies and gents, it's Zembak, and we are talking about the fucking tank that's blown up World of Wargaming. My god, it's the fucking end of the world again. The new IS-3A, the modified IS-3A, the new improved IS-3A, and this is actually, the improvement was fucking stellar. I mean, if you had this tank, what the fuck. So now, I've had this tank since it was first offered for sale, however many years ago. I played it on and off. All the way up till 357 matchmaking, and then I just stopped playing it because it just wasn't there. So what it is of course, and we'll have to go through the history of this again. We had the IS series, this tank. This was the first of the IS series, followed by the IS-2, and then 1945. Well, it had been 44 actually. They decided that they were going to do a revamped, upgraded version of the IS-2. And in fact, if you look at the actual history of it, for sometimes the IS-3 is actually called IS-2. Yeah, it worked off this design. They ended up with the IS-3 with a new hull and of course a new turret. This was the, it came about in 1945. Didn't participate in World War II. Was at the Victory Parade, I believe in Berlin, when the Allies saw this fucking tank rolling down the deal. They were like, holy fuck, because at one point this was the most powerful tank in the world in 1945. It was ridiculous, the armor, the gun, everything. And like I said, the Americans and the British were like, we got to rethink our idea here that the M4 Shermans were adequate. I mean, they weren't really terribly accurate in World War II, but after World War II, yeah, this thing scared the living bejesus out of them. They built about 1,100, almost 1,200 of these tanks. They eventually were upgraded to the IS-3M. They fought mainly the biggest user of these, I guess, in actual combat was the Middle Eastern countries. Specifically against Israel. Israel actually captured quite a few IS-3s, but by that time, of course, they've been upgraded to the IS-3M. But by that time, they were a little jaded in the 50s and 60s. They were running into tanks that were, for the most part, better. The guns were better. Heat rounds didn't really give a shit about their armor. That kind of thing. However, there was a couple instances, like I said, running up against the 90mm armed M48 patents that the Israelis had that could not frontally penetrate this tank. But for the most part, by the late 50s, early 60s, this tank was outdated and outmoded. In fact, I actually think there's one country in the world that still might be driving one of these things around, if I remember correctly. They're still out there, slowly but surely. So where do we get the IS-3A? Well, what this was an attempt was to, in the mid-50s, to mount a new autoloading system in the IS-3 and, of course, the T-10. This tank was once again, the linear progression of the IS series of tanks. This was an attempt for the IS-3 and the T-10 to get a new double-row autoloading system. Existed only in blueprints, and so that's what we get from this. And you'll notice, of course, the changes in the turret compared to the IS-3, which is kind of nice, actually, because since this is kind of a pile of shit right here, this little thin piece of 10mm or whatever the fuck this is right here that everybody pens, we didn't get that in the IS-3A. Quite as prevalent compared to the IS-3, and of course we don't get the cupolas either that the IS-3 had. These are a little easier to hit than this one on the IS-3A. If you look at it from the front, this thing's a little bit harder to pen the top of it compared to the IS-3. What the autoloading system did was remove one crew member. So for an actual tank crew trainer, this thing is shit because it only gets 3 crew members. When they sold it originally, this was considered probably by most to be the worst Tier 8 premium tank in the game. It just did not have anything going for it. It was slower than the IS-3. It had the gun handling was worse than the IS-3. It had a slightly faster reload than the IS-3, but not by much. So that was its only really big selling point, was it had just a little bit faster reload. Whatever. You get used to mobility and, of course, the gun handling, all that kind of stuff. I had a good time in it, up to the 357 matchmaking, and I just stopped using it. So we're going to look at the difference between the IS-3 and the IS-3A, at least stat-wise. We're going to pull up the comparison on these two to kind of give you an idea what I'm talking about here. So the firepower is kind of slides more to the IS-3, most for the fact of has a little bit more penetration, a little faster rate of fire. Now that rate of fire is kind of course, bullshit, because we're looking at the IS-3 has the new autoloader. So your first shell loads in 11.3, which is slightly less than the IS-3. Now I got these configured almost identical, except for this one has a rammer and this one doesn't. This one I actually have configured for. We have enhanced gun laying drive and vertical stabilizers to bring down that aim time, which is ridiculous in this tank, and of course vents. The other one that I have is not. I don't have all the gun laying drives on it. I only have on this one. I just have the enhanced gun laying drive, vents, and rammer. So there's, like I said, the difference, but it more to do with the fact that one's auto and one's not, right? So that's obviously the big the difference. That the first round will load slightly faster in the IS-3 versus the IS-3A. However, IS-3A gets one at 11.3, one 14.1, and one at 16.9, and that is a full clip. Turret traverse speed, of course, is a little quicker in the IS-3. Gun suppression is the same, and of course, the load magazine time full is 42 seconds for the IS-3, and this is not an autoloader, of course. Aim time's 2.84 for the IS-3 and 2.5 for the IS-3A. You put the same equipment on the IS-3, you're going to get that down similar to the IS-3 for the aim time. However, you're going to lose from 11 seconds to 12.2. So you're trading off the aim time versus reload time, I guess, for the equipment wise. Dispersion, that's the big difference. Like I said, the IS-3's always had better gun handling than the IS-3A. 0.37 to 0.42, and the average damage per minute. People are, like I said, everybody's worked up about the IS-3s and its burst damage. It's like any autoloader in the game. You run into a freaking AMX at tier 8, and you're in a tier 6 or a 7. You're going to fucking lose most of your health, if not all of it, by the burst. Same way with the IS-3A. 2.131 versus 2080. Survivability 390, 387, probably because it's slightly more hit points. Armored hull the exact same. Engine horsepower, here's the big difference: the mobility 520 versus 700, and of course top speed 38 versus 40. Takes forever for this thing to get to 40. You're always going to be better off with the IS-3 for at least that. Traverse speed a little bit better in the IS-3. Same way with concealment. The IS-3A's got a slight advantage. Of course, spotting and view range identical. Now, what is the big hubbub about this tank? It has to do with the fact that the autoloader is not like any other autoloader in the game. For example, if you're playing the Italians with the Progettos, once you empty all 3 rounds, you have to wait till all 3 rounds reload again before you fire. This one you don't. So when you fire your first shot, second shot, third shot, you don't have to wait till all 3 fill the clip again. You can immediately fire as soon as the first one is filled. So this does not have a drawback as an autoloader. And that is the biggest, literally the biggest fucking issue people are having with this thing. And I agree wholeheartedly. For the most part, this is a gimped IS-3. Mobility, all that kind of shit, gun handling, it is not as good as the IS-3. However, with the fact that they've added the autoloader, it's turned it into a little bit of a beast. I'll be honest with you. You are top tier in this tank. You're going to rack up a fucking shit ton of damage because you're going to be clipping out tier 2s or tier 6s and some tier 7s quite easily in this tank. Just literally just ending those tanks' life, no problem. Against your own tier, however, that's a little different. I mean, don't get me wrong. This tank is very, very solid. I mean, it is. I have a hard time using the word OP because there is better tanks at tier 8 than this tank. However, for the steel clubbing part of it, yeah, it's gonna fucking wreck people's days driving 6s and 7s when you run into this thing. You know, and that's kind of everything. This tank is not as broke as the fucking RU-252. This tank is fucking broke. It is ridiculously stupid. At tier 8, you are a god. It's like it would be like driving a Moss around. Yeah. There's not a lot of tanks that can 6 and 7s that can pen this tank frontally or even from the side. IS-3A is still just an IS-3 hull. It's still going to get penned by 6s and 7s. This tank can drive, fucking just put it in drive and just drive, right? IS-3A doesn't have that option. However, for pure damage, this thing will outdo the Defender, no problem. One-on-one, if I took an IS-3 versus Defender, I'm going to get my ass kicked because I would 221 pen would have a fuck of a time penning it. Same problem with dealing with like a VK101. I will have a hell of a time trying to pen it with this thing. You know, there's other tanks that are, you know, for the most part on a hill, you're going to get fucking worked, right? By any of the British or Americans. So yeah, in that sense, it's not OP. It's still, like I said, it's still an IS-3 hull. It's just that burst damage and the stupid reloading system that's making this thing everybody's just fucking going nuts about. I get it, because it is literally stupid the way they the way they applied this auto reloader, because it has no downfalls for having a reloader, right? Every reloader in the game has a downfall. Yeah, it's got a burst damage, but then it has a long reload, right? You know, 25, 30, 45 seconds. This doesn't have it. You know, once you've dumped that first shell, or once you dump the third shell, you're back up in 11 seconds again, able to fire a shell. So did Wargaming fuck up on this? Yeah, to a certain degree they did. I'm not sure why they were thinking leaving this autoloader intact, but, you know, it's Wargaming. Would I buy it if it came up? Sure. If they left it in this configuration. I don't think this is going to last. I honestly believe this is going to eventually be taken. The tank probably won't be taken on the game, but I think they're going to change the auto reloader system, whether it's going to be similar to the Italians, or they're going to give you a longer in-between shell reload or something like that. I just don't see this fucking auto reloader system work. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if they do leave it like this. How much? I mean, I like the tank and all, but in 357 matchmaking, you don't get those kind of games. You don't get to be top tier once. I mean, I played 15 games in this. One game out of 15 that I was saw 6s. Right? Most everything was always bottom tier against 10s, bottom tier against 9s. So this tank, for the most part, you know, against its own tier and down, and even there's certain tanks in tier 8 that this thing's going to have problems with. I mean, yeah, I mean, you can justify that it is fucking ridiculously stupid OP, but at the same time, with the current matchmaker system, I just don't see it as being just this huge fucking dominant tank that you see with like the Defender. The Defender is just fucking dominant at tier 8 because of its armor scheme. Doesn't have to rely terribly about how much DPM it can put out or of a burst damage, because it's, you know, fucking almost impenetrable from the front by most tier 8s. Even some 9s and 10s have a problem with it. So yeah, it's not as broken as the Defender, but it's still pretty fucking, it's still pretty good. So with that said, I'm going to bring up the gameplay for you guys to check out this auto reloading system, and why, to my opinion, just never should have been allowed to happen. It's Russian bias, goddammit. But yeah, I'll bring that up for you guys, and you can check this thing out. Alright, ladies and gents, back with the first game. Yeah, this is the only top tier game I got this day that I played it. Yeah, 15 games this day, and I got one out of that to be top tier. And this is going to, like I said, highlight one of the biggest complaints that people have about this tank, of course. With this low tier, any 6 in this game, I'm going to fucking wreck. They will be gone. But then again, like I said, this is your typical autoloader. At if you're tier 8 AMX at this level, you're going to fucking clip out every tier 6. Tier 7s, you have a possibility, if you roll well enough, to clip out a T29. You know, and that's where it kind of becomes, you know, pretty questionable. However, it's with this auto-loading system that doesn't require you to refill a full clip before you fire the next shot, is really why this thing is kind of stupid, right? We're going to pull up in here and we're going to run into, I'm leading the charge here. I'm not typically known for being, if I'm high tier and we lose this is my fault. It always has been. I don't, I definitely don't blame my sixes for failing here. So I'm going to be pretty aggressive here. I'm going to move up quickly here. We got a Panther showing here. The A-43 goes makes kind of a bold move here. By moving in there so quickly, he actually, for some degree, pulls a lot of these tanks back and leaves us just here with this T-150. So I have one T-150 here. I got the Carnivon. Now that guy right there in the AX, that guy played well on this map. I would have had a hard time dealing with him with that turn. So T-150's already shot once, twice. Ooh, let's put another one in him for the kill. Now I feel bad for the T-150. I really fucking do. That's what this tank does, being able to clip out like that. Now I'm looking at my shell. It's already getting reloaded, 11 point whatever odd seconds here, and now I'm ready. I'm able to fire here again. M44 puts a shell into me. Nope. Oni moves over here. The IS moves around the corner. IS goes, I got this. Puts a shell into him. The IS moves around the corner. Nope, he can't do it. Unfortunately, he pulls right in front of me. However, I got two shells loaded here, and we're going to see what this guy does. Come on. Nope. Ooh, puts a shell into me. APCR, because why not? There's one. We'll see if we track him, and we're going to get some of the assisted damage out of him as they blow him up. Yeah. KV2. Is that from my own KV2? Fuck yeah, it was. Lovely. I didn't realize that he shot me in the back of the head. So, on we go. Luckily, he was firing AP. So, we move up here. We got the Panther, got the Thunderbolts, and we're rolling. This is 6.5, and this is what, you're a heavy tank. You're fucking supposed to be doing this shit. So I pull up here, and that sneaky devil T93. Like I said, this isn't a defender. Just like any other IS-3, I'm going to take some damage because of it's a gimped IS-3 hull. So pull around here. We got the Thunderbolt here. Ooh, there we go. 1. Gun handling on this is always wonderful. 2. Oh, let's see here. Can we let's waffle all 3, because reasons. However, it doesn't really matter because here comes my next shell. So we pull up here. Well, let's see here. Come on. I'm trying to game for that cheek. Oh, slightly off the cheek here. And he's still just sitting there waiting. Puts a shell up here. I don't know if he was shooting at the moon or what. All right. So we've waffled every shot, but fuck it. You know what? We only need 3 inches of his to hit it. Gotta love Russian accuracy here. So we pull around here. Let's see if we can get this T-29 killed off. Well played T-29 in that position would be a pain even for this tank. Unless I rushed him, he's just going to sit there and bounce all my shit. So we've already knocked it 10-6. Yeah, the sheer amount of damage this thing can put out with a full load is ridiculous, and I think that's that's the reason people are having a problem with it. And of course, that stupid reload that lets you be able to fire even though you haven't filled your clip after emptying it. So I have no reason not to empty my clip every time. Why would I sit on it? Why would I fire 2 and just wait for the other one? Why would I do that? Because, I could do this. Pull around the Panther. He has no idea I'm coming. Bat Chat's over there. MX-1353, maybe F3 is in there somewhere. And we'll just pull around, put a nice shell in the back of him. Ooh, sets him on fire. Didn't get all of it. 1. Yeah, bucket. I have no down. There's nothing down about not blasting away with it. And like I said, this is the reason why people are pissed about it, because there is no downfall for it. Pick up the Tiger 1. Now, I probably could have did, if I would have been a defender, I would have did this exact same thing. Probably wouldn't have as much damage, but I would have just rolled right on through. No problem here. Picked up the Tiger 1. He's running. Got the Bat Chat 12T here, and I'm just trying to get a little bit more damage out here. Oh, where'd you go, buddy? Where'd you go? Oh, Russian act. Help me, Stalin. Nope, nothing. Completely missed it. That's all right. So yeah, there's a legit fucking reason why people are pissed. you know, there is no reason to have this kind of autoloader in the game, except for to cause salt. I have never got as much hate mail as I've had over this tank just by playing it. The fucking people I didn't even kill them were messaging me upset. So I got 3 games total. One's going to be in my own tier, and then I'll have one that's going to be a higher tier too. All right, fellas and ladies, we are back with our second game in the IS-3A, my own tier. One of the view matches. It was a shitty day in tanks, I tell you what. Yeah, we are on a nice city map, which kind of plays into how this tank plays. Anything at range with this tank is pretty fucking shady at best. So we're going to push up in here. They're already moving toward the punch here. I'm playing with Izgoy and Catechus. One in a TD, one in a light. And of course I'm playing the heavy roll today. We're going to move up into position here and try to get around this corner right away. I always like taking these shots as quick as possible as they come through here. So move in here. Let's see if we can... Ooh. Love that accuracy on that gun. Let's see here. Let's put one in you. There's one. Reload quickly. And yes. Bounce the LT-432. And I did get the second shot into the charioteer. Oh, maybe I didn't. No, I didn't get the second shot on the charioteer. Oh well. What are we going to do? So, they've finished off the charioteer. We got the IS-3A here, a louver, and a 252. However, we still have 2 tanks down here, and I'm just waiting for my shells to reload. Don't have to, but I do. See what we can find here. There's we go. There's AM 65 ton. Is getting those guys lit here, so I can back up and maybe possibly get a shell in their rear. Oh, there we go. Now I get fixed up to 50 TP. I'm going to side scrape a little bit here. No, we're just going to pull over here and see if we can put a shell in the rear end of him. Ooh, Tiger gets me. There's one. Can I get a second one in there? There we go. Put 2 in there. There's that Tiger 2 that shot me. And I'm already up to 1142. You know, and that, as a damage dealer, this thing just is fucking ridiculous. And this is one of the major complaints about it, of course, is how fast, you know, you don't lose that ability to stay in the game. Otherwise, right now on regular autoloader, of course, I would be just simply hiding in the back until I had reloaded here. AMX 65 ton, 50 TPs over there. LT-432 is still there. I'm trying to see if I can get a shot on these guys in the back. Longer I wait, the more damage I can do. Of course, I almost got the second shell reloaded. Yeah, we're just going to wait here to see if anything shows up here. However, I'm getting a little fucking nervous here. The KV-5's pulled back too far. And I don't know, with 252s and a defender right there, they come around the corner, I'm fucked. These guys are pushing now. The Wheezy 111 KV-5 defender. They're all pushing into the 112. And of course the FV207, which is fucking kind of odd to be where he's at. So, I got 2 defenders here. Either and or, I would struggle. I mean, can be honest, I would be fucking absolutely struggle against these 2 tanks. Or just one of these tanks. Unless I could get to his side. I don't have much of a chance here. So we're just going to be patient here. 252 moves up. I don't even... He's got all the advantages here, hence why I'm hugging this fucking house like my life depends on it. Waiting for the louver to back up far enough. Defender, Wheezy 111, they're all just pushing him back. Yep, come on. Ooh. T-34B finishes him off here. These 2 are just like... I think they might have heard about this tank. That's about the time the fucking 252 comes around here, puts the first shell into him, puts the second shell into him, finishes him off, leaving us here with the last defender. Yeah, everybody's trying to get in on the damage. They finish him off, set him on fire, and yeah. The longer you don't shoot, I mean, this is the nice thing, you know, you have these lulls in the game, just let you rebuild your fucking damage output, essentially. We're going to push on over here. We got the AMX 65 ton. It is currently a 9-3. This is a typical weekend fucking deal. Everybody gets fucked. CAD's almost dead. Don't die, CAD. I'm coming. We're going to save the day here. SU-130 PM's moved down here. Oh, he's a little too far up there for me to shoot. However, we do have a 65 ton right here. They finished off them. The SU-130PM Centurion 1's fired. He's just on the other side of this hill. However, I'm not worried about it. Nah, fuck that guy. He's running. So I'm below the hill here. Picks up the AMX 65 ton. Let's see if we can put some shells in here. Now I'm loaded. I have enough to actually finish him off. Literally no problem. We're just going to pull around the corner here, see if we can get some more damage. Ooh, there's one. Can I do it? Lower plate. Oh, I pull up for some fucking reason and I don't finish him off. That's alright. Waiting for my next shell to load. We got 3 tanks left. FV over on the backside. SU-130 and of course the Centurion, or the LT-432. Let's see here. Can't get a shot on him. Nope, nothing. We're just going to wait here a little bit here and see how this rolls out here. Not going to throw a bunch of HP away. Repair costs, no, it's expensive to run these tanks. Push up here, looking for the light. He's in the back there. Can't quite. Pretty much at this point I figured I probably wasn't going to get a shot on him. He doesn't look like he was going to back up much at all. Cat is still somehow alive. Go figure. KB5's like, I got this, boys. Just keeps driving up. SU-152 finishes off the LT-432. And the F-4202 is like he's getting his shit wrecked. I'm just waiting for him. Nope, nothing. So that leaves one SU-130PM. And he apparently, yeah, he's back there somewhere. He just finishes off the T-34. And, of course, I pick him up. Nailed the SU-130PM. He's dead. Yeah. In its own tier, like you said, it can still be quite the damage dealer. There's some tanks you just want to steer clear, of course, like Defenders and VKs and all that kind of stuff. But in typical, those tanks are fucking ridiculously stupid for their tier. But what do you... Alright, ladies and gents, back with the last game. This is the more of the bottom tier. You know, and I had some good games against tier 10s, too. I had a couple of them that were 2,500 plus damage. It's not that it can't perform at tier 10. It does require a little bit more sometimes. Actually, you know what? I don't even think I did fire much. Maybe one round of premium out of this tank the whole time I was playing it. Yeah. But for the most part, you know, in its own tier, and even against tier 9s, it's fine. Tier 10s is a little bit more difficult, obviously, with 221 pen. I'm going to move up here. I got the AMX-30 going for the hill. That's always nice to win. We need to make sure we can secure this, and I'm going to support him to get him up that hill so he does not get rushed as he does it here. Pulls around the corner. Let's see what we got here. We got the 416 coming up here. AMX-30 is hanging out right there. What are you going to do, buddy? Ooh, let's see here. He's thinking about it. Definitely thinking about it. Come on, you know you want to go. I'm also somewhat already safe here, so I'm not going to have to worry about getting dropped a 4043 shell on me. So we're just going to be here patient until they decide to get up that hill. I think he's waiting. The AMX is waiting to make sure that the 2 line is clear. Now, like I said, this thing does have the potential, like with this autoloader and all this stuff, to do a substantial amount of damage. But it, you know, still for all intents and purposes, it's still an IS-3. It's still a gimped IS-3A or IS-3. So it doesn't always work out the best sometimes. Picks up the 416. He's gonna sit there and let me shoot him. That's fine. He pulls back too before I get another chance to put in him. Isgoy gets up the hill. I'm waiting for the MX-30 to get up there too. We're just gonna make sure they can get up there so we can keep maneuvering on this map here. I'm a little leery. I'm still waiting to see where the VK and the 257 is going to be spotted here. If the other VKs are on the other side, I'm sorry, the E75. AMX-30 finishes off the 416, and now they have the hill, which works out excellent for us. T-32's up there, and we still haven't. STI has not spotted the heavy tanks or any of the tank destroyers, so I'm feeling a little brave here. There's the 257 and the IS-3. All the heavies went north. Ooh, that's a tough one. So, around the corner we go. These VKs have no idea I'm here. There's the Strev S1. And we're just going to do a little peeky pokey here and see what we can find. And the VKs, of course, are just completely, you know, these tanks are hard tanks to go through. Puts 2 shells into the VK. Let's see if we can get... Oh! And it bounces off the side of the turret. I love that fucking accuracy on that gun. But that's all right. I'm not being punished for having an autoloader, because my shell is up and ready to go. And you're going to see me work both these VKs over here without ever actually having to reload a full clip. So there you go. Pull in. Ooh, right in behind him. Wait that 11 some seconds here for the next reload, and I'll just keep doing it. Pull around, shoot him in the side. These guys would have been perfectly fine if this would have been your typical autoloader. You know, they would have had 30 plus seconds, maybe even 40 plus seconds before I was able to keep shooting them. However, I don't have that issue because this is broke, right? Pull around here. There's the VK here. Let's put a nice, ooh, not penetrated in the side. You didn't think he had that much of an angle. So the 704 has been spotted. E75 has been spotted. So we'll just wait here and we'll just go put one right in the back of his head. There we go. Put another one in there for 394. Leaving him 397 health here. So can we finish him off? Ooh, they actually killed the STI between the two of them. They would have been a major roadblock. They would have probably simply destroyed the ISM and IS-3 if I wouldn't have turned around here and flanked. So I have 2,300 damage right now. So the 704, the E75, and 257 have been spotted to the north here. So I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this doesn't look too shabby. I have ISM and IS-3 behind me. Ooh, let's see what we can find when we come around the corner. Where's Artie? I can see it. Oh, never mind. Two 704s and a TVP. We'll just use some of that Stalin magic there. Come around the corner, and 704 is like, I got you, buddy. Put another round in the 704. And, you know, at this point I would be backpedaling, trying to find some place to reload, because this is not a good, this would not be where I want to be. Pull around here, 704 is like, I'm going to shoot you, but you can't, because this is a, ooh, there we go. Pick up the TVP. He comes around, puts a 256 into my L. Now, I'm not sure why this ISM decided that he was going to try to side scrape against a 704 firing APCR. Now, I can say all you can say about fucking broken tanks, but the fact that, you know, you're a tier 9 TD 704 firing APCR, that's literally what's fucking broke about this game more than anything. TVP comes around the corner. The IS-3 behind me doesn't have a shot. Ooh, I take a big one to the face. And there's nothing I can do with these three rushing me. Really, both of them fired APCR. Unfucking real. About that time, AMX-30 and Izgoy comes around the corner, and they got the 704s in the rear. The other IS-3, I'm not terribly sure what his deal was. Yeah, he's bush camping, playing sniper with a shitty gun. Go figure. So I'm dead. Still put out about 4,100 damage before I died, which is fucking ridiculous. But again, when you have somewhat of a broke fucking tank like this, it's very well possible. So these guys are pushing up here on the E75, the 257. I'm not terribly sure what these so they're actually got both tier 9, all 4 tier 9s are up. Izgoy comes around the corner, and yeah, this game's gonna end kind of like how you thought it was. AMX 65 tons working the E75s over. It gets one big hit there. Come on, push up here, 53 TP. Waffenpanzer's like, I got this, boys. Round he comes. Let's see if he can find the rear end of it. Izgoy's just ready to finish off the 704. Thank you, buddy, for doing that. Nothing like finishing off the APCR spamming bucks. Round we go. IS-3 finally, apparently it's safe now to move up and get around the backside, and they finish off the E75. So, with that said, there's the 3 games into it. It is a damage-dealing fucking machine. You get in the right positions, it's just fucking ridiculous. However, for the most part, like I said, it is still a gimped IS-3 hull, and it still doesn't move around the battlefield best and all that kind of crap. However, in your own tier and down, you are going to just fucking deal ridiculous amounts of damage because of that broken autoloader system. With that said, hope you guys enjoy the videos, and have a good night.